On November 8, 2016, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi appeared on national television and issued a decree that stopped the country in its tracks. Effective immediately, all 500 and 1,000 rupee notes were stripped of their status as legal tender. In a matter of hours, cash-dependent markets froze. Millions of citizens flooded the streets, forming massive, desperate lines outside banks to exchange their soon-to-be worthless currency. But 1,000 kilometers away, the policy hit the shadow networks of Karachi with the devastating force of an earthquake. Javed Khanani sat at the center of the impact. He carried the quiet demeanor and thick glasses of an ordinary accountant, masking his position as the international underworld's most trusted banker and the reigning kingpin of counterfeit currency. Exactly 26 days after the notes were banned, this untouchable crime boss was found dead under highly suspicious circumstances. Intriguing. While debated as a domestic economic correction, the timing of the policy reveals a deliberate, lethal financial strike against a transnational terror network. To see how an Indian economic policy led to the death of a Pakistani crime boss, we have to go back to 1947. Amidst the chaos of the partition, the Khanani family arrived in Karachi with almost nothing. The patriarch, Abdul Sattar, set up a tiny pavement currency exchange in the bustling Bolton market. His twin sons, Javed and Altaf, learned the trade from the ground up. By the late 1990s, they partnered with another prominent money trader to form Khanani and Kalia International. They eventually captured 40% of Pakistan's entire foreign exchange market. Then came 1993. A series of devastating bombings ripped through Mumbai. The mastermind behind the attacks, underworld boss Dawood Ibrahim, fled to Pakistan under the protection of state intelligence. Dawood had billions generated from extortion and smuggling, but he was isolated, unable to distribute his wealth through formal banking channels. He needed a shadow bank. In a highly classified meeting at a Karachi safe house, the Khanani brothers struck a deal with Dawood. Driven by the massive commissions, they established a secretive new branch of their empire, the Khanani Money Laundering Organization. They built their operation on the ancient system of hawala. If a client handed a bag of physical cash to Javed in Karachi, he made a single phone call. Minutes later, Altaf's associates in Dubai would hand the exact equivalent amount to the designated recipient. No digital transaction, no paper trail. They quickly scaled this untraceable system. Altaf expanded their footprint across London, New York, and Toronto. Soon, they were cleaning cash from Mexican drug cartels and settling accounts for international terror syndicates without leaving a single fingerprint. Moving an estimated $14 to $16 billion annually, the Khanani brothers had constructed the world's most efficient washing machine for dirty money, making themselves the indispensable financial backbone of state-sponsored terrorism. While Altaf handled the global flow of money, Javed managed a second, highly aggressive weapon aimed directly at India, the mass production of fake Indian currency notes. Javed's operation produced super notes using security-grade paper allegedly sourced from British manufacturer De La Rue. These featured accurate watermarks and security fibers, routinely tricking the sensors inside commercial ATMs. The volume of this production was staggering. Up to 2,000 crore rupees in fake currency was pumped across the border annually. It actively devalued the Indian rupee and directly funded lethal operations on Indian soil, including the 2008 Mumbai attacks. The scale of their crimes drew the attention of global intelligence. Using critical input from Indian agencies, the United States Drug Enforcement Administration launched a sprawling, highly classified undercover operation. Agents posed as international smugglers holding millions in cocaine profits that needed cleaning. After months of encrypted communication, the DEA set a trap. They lured Altaf to a face-to-face meeting in Panama in September 2015. The moment he stepped off the plane, he was surrounded, arrested, and shipped to a prison cell in Miami. The international wing of the operation was crushed, but half the threat remained. Altaf was locked away, yet Javed sat comfortably under state protection in Pakistan, hoarding a stockpile of thousands of crores in freshly printed super notes, ready to flood into India. Late in the night in New Delhi, Prime Minister Modi convened a strategy meeting with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and select intelligence officials. Doval outlined a harsh reality. India had no physical means to strike the heavily guarded counterfeit printing presses operating inside Pakistan. If they couldn't destroy the factories, they had to destroy the product. They needed to turn the enemy's stockpile into worthless paper. Which brings us back to November 8, 2016. By declaring the 500 and 1,000 rupee notes void, the government set fire to the counterfeit treasury. The financial shockwave hit Karachi immediately. Javed Khanani possessed massive warehouses stacked to the ceiling with high-grade counterfeits. In a single broadcast, his life's work and the terror network's primary funding source were transformed into mountains of trash. Stripped of his wealth, Javed was instantly bankrupt. Worse, he was heavily in debt. The D Company and associated militant factions began bearing down on him, demanding their lost money. And with his brother actively cooperating with U.S. authorities in Miami, Javed became a massive liability to his state protectors. Exactly 26 days after the demonetization announcement, on December 4, 2016, a highly distressed Javed Khanani arrived at the under-construction Sima Tower in Karachi. Moments later, his body hit the pavement. Police hastily declared it a suicide and closed the file without an autopsy. The Khanani empire dismantled. A domestic policy drafted in New Delhi managed to bypass borders, evade militaries, and bankrupt an entire